No, we did not plan or plot this out from the beginning. When I wrote Precambrian, I did not have any plans to continue with another paleontology-inspired album after Precambrian. It was just a one-off thing, basically, which I initially came up with because, when I was trying to visualize and imagine fitting scenery for the music, I always ended up with these prehistoric landscapes, and it just seemed somehow appropriate visualizations of the music that I was writing at that time. That's how we started. That's how we came up with Precambrian. And then after that, we did the Centrix records, which were something completely different conceptually. And only when I started writing for Phanerozoic 1 in 2016, 2017, I had the idea to go back to where Precambrian left off and continue with that other Ian that was still there, basically, the Phanerozoic. That again was because the music I was writing for Phanerozoic 1 kind of reminded me of Precambrian a bit, some of the riffs on that record, and it had that Precambrian vibe, so it was naturally, and that's usually how it comes, by just trying to imagine things that come out of the music and let the music do its trick to you and yourself as the writer also. It's always the music first for us, and then all the concepts and lyrics are written once the music is already pretty much fleshed out in detail. It is definitely the end of an era. We are not going to do another album along this topic, basically. It's drained now for good, and it's time for something new. So yes, it's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one for the band, for sure, both conceptually and in terms of many things, actually. The music and the sound that has evolved a lot with this record and brought a lot of new things to the table, I think. And also in terms of songwriting and how we approach things in the creative realm, basically. Like this album was different in many ways. It's mostly songs that are based on ideas originally written by Peter. So for me, it was quite a challenge in a nice way to work with something that was already there and something that was not coming from me for once, and to work with that and try to make it work within the ocean context was a great challenge, and it worked out really well and was very inspiring. And that's super important. We've been a band for 20 years and have released 10 records. And if you always end up repeating the same approach, the same, recording the same studios with the same people and the same producers, and have the same approach to songwriting, then you essentially get bored and you just end up repeating yourself. And, that we don't want that. So I'm happy to say that this album was kind of like a fresh start in so many ways. And I think you can really feel that and hear that that excitement, that we put into it. And for me, that really feels great. So basically what happened here is that I started writing during the pandemic in late 2020. I was working on new material that I was planning to be for the ocean, basically. And when I was almost done with that, I had about an hour of material. I sent it all to Peter to ask him to, lay down some synths for those tracks, basically. And then Peter told me, oh, actually, I've also been working on material, and I was completely unaware of that. And he sent it to me, and that material was not necessarily written for with the ocean in mind. It was just things that he was working on. He wanted to share with me, and I listened to that stuff and felt very much inspired. And because I was already in writing mode, working on my own album, basically, it kind of connected seamlessly. I took those parts that Peter sent me one by one, basically, and started adding guitars and drums to it, and started, giving my touches to them to make them ocean tracks. And so by the end of that process, we basically had 2 albums. And it was pretty clear from the beginning which tracks would end up on which album, just because, one half was written by me, one half was written by Peter. Peter's tracks were very synth-based, while mine were more guitar and drums based, maybe more typical ocean material, I would say. So the separation between those 2 records was pretty clear from the beginning, although I did steal one track from Peter's record that I really wanted to be the second track of that other album that I've been working on. And yeah, here we go. Then we decided to focus on Holocene first for different reasons. Mostly because we felt it really connected well with the end of Phanerozoic 2, where we had already ventured a little bit into this territory with more, like more dominant electronics, and that was matching kind of what Peter's tracks were doing too. So we felt like we want to explore this first and then go back to the second record. And so far, we have not had a chance to do that. We were totally eaten up by, working on Holocene. It was a massive process that took well over 2 years, basically, to finish and record everything. So there is the second record that is just not in the box yet. It's in pre-production stage, but I'm also very excited to start working on that hopefully soon. But now we're going on tour, so I have honestly no idea when that will happen. Yeah, as I already said, I think this album is opening a lot of new doors for us that will be very intriguing to explore further in the future, for sure. I think the sound of the band has kind of transformed with Holocene, and time will tell if it was like more like a detour or if it's like a direction for us. But we all feel very comfortable with this record, and started playing the tracks live last week for the first time, and it feels great, and I feel like it really represents where we are as a band in the year 2023. So that said, like I already mentioned, there's another record which is different again. So there's always room for a surprise. And no, I don't know the next concept for the Ocean yet. For the next record, I have not decided that. The music is always first, and then I start thinking about that. I do have some ideas that I had while touring South America last year, but it's too early to share that. So you're gonna have to wait it out. We are very excited to play Comendatio Fest and to return to Portugal so soon after our show last year in May, I think it was. And it feels great to be back so soon, because I think before that we haven't been in Portugal for 10 years, which was not intentional. It's just that it's very far. You always have to drive back when you drive there with a tour bus, so it's quite costly. But yeah, we love playing Portugal, and this seems to be like a really nice festival. So we're really looking forward to it. Can't wait. Oh man, there's still shitloads of things to do before I die, that's for sure, hopefully. Lots of places, lots of continents we haven't set foot on. We're actually going to South Africa for the first time in September, so we're very excited about that. But there's lots of places we haven't played yet and would love to play. And of course, more music to write and more tours to be done. We're not getting tired of this anytime soon. I think it's what we love doing, and we're very happy that this band is offering us the privilege to do all these things you mentioned, to tour, to travel, to see the world, and to really dedicate our lives to being creative and writing music and touring with our own music and taking it to places. It's beautiful. It's the best thing in the world for me personally. And so cheers to what else is to come still.